DJ PK brought to you in part by Cafe Rio. Win lunch from the Zone and Cafe Rio on Taco Tuesdays. Listen every Tuesday for your chance to win a $20 Cafe Rio gift card. Learn more about Taco Tuesday and the great deals available every week at CafeRio.com. PK, you like him. And
I like him. I love him. I want more of him.
And one person's problem is another person's opportunity. Yahoo Sports breaking news about 12 minutes ago. The Dolphins are signing former Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley off the Ravens practice squad.
That means he has to be on the active squad.
Obviously, Tua is out for a while. We don't know how long. The backup there is Skylar Thompson. He's expected to start Sunday at Seattle. But Huntley could be a factor in coming weeks because he was with Baltimore, got some experience there. Crazy that a backup in the search for a Pro Bowl quarterback, they landed with a backup. And then Huntley went to Cleveland, got cut, went back to the Ravens practice squad. Looks like he's headed to Miami now.
So and he's from Florida.
He's a Florida guy. That's why as soon as I saw this, you always love the fact that instead of doing the easy thing and staying in Florida, he bet on himself and came across the country to Utah and battled his way and got the starting job and had a couple trips to the conference title game and had a good run and made it to the NFL.
Yeah.
So now he gets to go to Florida.
It's a great story, man.
And battle Skylar Thompson for the right to start while Tua's out for however long he's out for.
Who the heck doesn't like the Tyler Huntley story? Yeah. I get it. It's so poo-poo, blah, 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 whatever.
But aside from the rivalry.
Yeah. That's just a great story of perseverance. He got his degree. He did everything he was supposed to do. Black kid from Florida coming out to Utah.
Yep.
And succeeding, flourishing, gets his degree, plays in the NFL, undrafted free agent. How do you not love that story? That's what it's about, man.
Normally when you say a player, I think about a play, and I get an image of a play. Sometimes I get an image, there's a quote because they say something or something. But the thing that sticks with me about him is there was something I think the Utes put out on social media because I don't know how else I would have seen it. And it was a shot in the locker room before the game. And he was like he had a play sheet or a call sheet in front of him. And you could just tell by the look in his face, he was totally locked in. You could just feel, the thing you talk about. You have your shot. Make sure you prep for it so when it comes, you're ready. Now, at that point, he was the starter, but you just see him before the game locked in. And it'd be easy to be distracted and laughing with the guys or whatever, but he was just locked in.
Yeah.
Just looked like he's looking at a play call, thinking, this is where it's going to go. This is my read. This is what I'm going to do.
He had a phenomenal senior season. He was high level.
Yeah.
It's a testament to work, work, work. Do what you're supposed to do, and you can succeed in life. I really believe that.
And in this, it's not really a story. It's a couple sentences that Yahoo put out here. But it's like they think enough of him that they think he can come in, meet the guys, learn the system, and he could be playing in 2 weeks. I mean, asking him to do that in the first week, that's why Skylar Thompson is in line to start Sunday at Seattle. But in 2 weeks, who's to say?
Yeah, and then I don't know when they have their bye, but I've been giving some other time there to go in that direction. But yeah, this is great news for a kid who's worked for it. Nothing was given. Everything was worked for. And to be able to make it and to know you made it and now go do your thing for the Dolphins if you should get the opportunity. What are we, 5 years removed from college now?
Yes.
Yeah. And he got the degree. Just the fact he did what he did shows that he can have success in life. And ultimately, that's what it's about, whether you're an athlete or whether you're a teacher or it doesn't matter what you are.
Set some goals and then reach them, whatever they are.
Right. Take advantage of the situation that you've worked to get with the scholarship and to be able to then get the degree and use it and to know that, hey, I can do this. You've got to feel good about yourself. And he was on the practice squad, and NFL rules require if you get taken off a practice squad, you have to be put on the active 53-man roster. So now he'll get the bump in pay, and hopefully for him, he's using his money wisely to be able to then have that go forward, to be able to
never 9 to 5 it.
Yeah.
Right.
And nothing against the folks who have to do that.
No, but I use that expression because I literally heard an athlete use it, and that was his goal for his career, and it was Brian Russell. And he said, I don't want to 9 to 5 it. And he had a good friend who'd gone to UC Santa Barbara when I was calling the games, and I knew it. And he said, what is he doing? He's 9 to 5 in it. I don't want to 9 to 5 it. And that was B. Russ's goal, and he reached it.
Well, he played in the NBA for so long.
He said it early in his career when he didn't know how long. It was like that was his mindset is I'm going to stick in the NBA long enough. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to get that contract, and I'm not going to have to do that.
I don't think that should be any question.
Right. And it's much easier now than it was then. I mean, the money's obviously gotten bigger for everybody.
And he played long enough.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see people, all of them, you can learn something. You can learn something from everyone. And what is their story? Everyone has a story. And what made you get out of your situation? Not that it was necessarily a bad situation. I shouldn't say get out of. But what's made you
get to your goals,
succeed from whatever situation you were in? Now, some are in much harder situations. And that's what's heartbreaking is I've been involved in some situations here personally to see some kids that are born just got no chance. If they make it, it's virtually a miracle.
I was going to use the word phenomenal.
And it's so sad to see that. And I've seen it personally right as close as could possibly be. And to think that you get this close, but then something drags you down over here, over there. And it's really eye-opening once you've been involved in that and you see that. And then you get way less judgmental. And you want to help. You want to do what you can. That's why I'm big on help. I'm not big on symbolic help. That doesn't do anything. The Black National Anthem was played. I don't care if it was played, but how does that help the kids in the real world, whether it's played or not played? It just doesn't matter to me. What are we doing to help people who need the help? Not just give them stuff, but help them help themselves. A little bit of my preaching here.
All from a guy going to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And you had good instincts on the bye week. It's after week 5. So they got to play 5. They played 2. They got to play 3 more, and they get their bye.
Yeah.
And the thing with Tua is, I mean, he could be back. We've seen people come back from concussions in 3 weeks or so, but also he's had multiple ones.
Well, it's the cumulative effect.
Right. And so what kind of cumulative effect? If you're the Dolphins, you got to prep for what if he doesn't play this season?
Oh, for sure.
And even if he does come back, is there another hit and he's out for this season, right? So the opportunity for Huntley here, he goes from getting cut in Cleveland, the Ravens put him on the practice squad, and he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And maybe Skylar Thompson will come out and be great. I mean, there's a lot of talented skill players. I don't think Miami has as much talent at the skill positions as the Niners do, but they're at the high end of the league. You got receivers to throw the ball to who can make you look good. You don't have to do all the heavy lifting by yourself. That's a good job, and Huntley can compete with Thompson for that, and maybe they can still find a way to have a winning season and be a playoff team. I mean, these days you don't need much more than a winning season. You might need a little more, but you don't need much more than that to get in the playoffs.
Seeing Huntley be on an NFL roster again gives me hope for Cam Rising. Because I think that's the route he's going to have to take. And he's got to stay healthy. Huntley had an injury that was, what was his junior year?
It was his shoulder his junior year at Arizona State.
Right, and that was his junior year.
And he was having a good year. Not the year he had his senior year.
He was
still having a good year.
Oh, yeah.
And the team was having a good year. They ended up in the conference title game.
Yeah.
Even though he went down. But
maybe if Huntley's there, I think they win that game.
You would think, the way the game went.
Yeah. Right. I think Moss was gone too.
Yeah, one defensive touchdown he was. Yeah. One defensive touchdown off a tipped ball.
Right. Yeah. So I think that he didn't have the injury history. Rising has got the injury history, and he is older. Tyler played his 4 years.
But everyone's desperate for a quarterback. Who's to say you can't get a shot, make a practice squad, impress people, and things have to break your way. And it's one person's, what's happening to Tua is horrific, but it's still opportunity for somebody else, in this case, Tyler Huntley.
Right. But going into the draft, Rising will be 26 years old.
I get it. It seems like it's stacked against him. The only thing, the thing you have going for you is if you can win and perform in college, they are desperate for quarterbacks in the NFL. Desperate.
Well, he'll get his opportunity, I would think.
Get in camp.
If he's healthy this year and does what I believe and we all believe he will do, certainly he's capable of doing it, and he's already done it. And if he can have the health and have the season going forward that I believe he'll have if he has the health, then there's no doubt in my mind, if he wants it, he can get an opportunity and then to see what happens. But I don't see a particular huge difference between a Tyler Huntley and a Cam Rising. Now, Huntley stayed healthy for the entire season as his senior year. Rising, this is a minor injury.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing that is a setback. Are there other things? Are there far more serious injuries that I think at that point, if he suffers another serious injury,
he's had a knee injury and a shoulder injury,
then have to look to someplace else. And I don't know what his career goals are, what he wants to do, man, as a businessman. Does he want to get into coaching or whatever? I don't know anything about that. But if he can do what he should be able to do, he should get a shot, and that would be cool to see that. And what does he do with the shot? Maybe he doesn't make it. And even if he doesn't make it, it's not the end of the world by any stretch. I mean, he's still young enough to go ahead and I don't really care if guys make it or not. I care that they make it in life. That's far more important.
I'm waiting for the phrase.
What?
Oh, you love this phrase.
Take two and go to right?
That's also a good phrase.
Imagine what can be unburdened by what has been.
Don't let sports use you. You use sports.
Right.
Leverage sports for the college education. Leverage sports to get your name in a community. And use it to, whatever field of business you go in. We see a lot of college stars stay in the town where they were college stars.
They should.
Leverage their name.
Well, he's already leveraged a lot of money, too.
It's different in this era. This is something you were saying long before NIL. And so now you can do it now, but you can still do it when you're 30, 40, 50.
Right. Yeah.
There's media stuff, broadcasting stuff, owning a business.
Right.
That's
I bought
public-facing.
a copier just because of him.
You did.
He told me where to go get my copy machine.
You walk in. I've seen the ad. You walk into the Kinahan's house, Yock. You turn right to go to the kitchen. Right. You turn left to go to the copier.
Well, yeah, you got all sorts of documents.
Sure, absolutely.
Right, that you need copying.
Hey, everybody needs a printer these days.
Yeah.
That is one of the ongoing battles in our house is getting a printer that wants to stay connected for whatever reason they disconnect themselves from the network. Don't work.
I wouldn't even have any idea how to use the copier.
It's great. It's just outstanding.
I just tell the kid or the old lady, hey, I need a copy of this. Or I tell Yock, and he handles it, which reminds me, I got to send you, Yock, the information from Oklahoma State. I've never been there before, so I got to know where I'm driving, and they send out all the info. They give you the way it does now. It used to be in the old days, you had to wait. Oh, is my credential coming? Well, now everything is, they send you a parking pass.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you can get your credential.
When you get there.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. That always used to be a big deal.
But you got to be able to get into the parking lot so you can get to get the credential.
Right, yeah. And that's what they do. And so then you got to go to this place, you got to go to that place. That's what's going to be a pain in the butt for me. All the places in the conference, I knew exactly where to go because I'd been there.
Yes. Well, when you go to Stillwater, you're going to see a really big building, and that's the stadium.
But
it's not completely flat. I mean, there's a little rolling hills there, but
some of them make you park so far away now. Mm-hmm. Even the Utes, my Utes, they make me park up by the Huntsman Center.
Yep.
I'm an old man.
Yeah. You can't hoof it that far, huh? It's good to get your steps in. They're looking out for you and your health.
I go
to
the
your
gym.
Steps
I don't
in.
need them. I should have an emeritus parking spot west in that parking lot where I always parked for all those years. And now all of a sudden, I got to hike it up with the 20-something-year-olds. It's just not right. Next home game against Arizona, I'm going to come out of the elevator with a cane and make them feel bad that they made me use that.
Ooh, the next home game? Wait a minute. That's Arizona. You and Harlan can go at it. He's a Wildcat. You're a Devil. You two love that stuff.
Yeah, but we'll have the same goal, though.
Yeah, the paycheck. He can't really enjoy it.
We both want to see Arizona go down in this particular game.
In this particular, one time a year, he does want to see
boys. In 2 weeks, we'll be boys.
He can't be happy about your 3-0 Devils.
He can't be?
No. Maybe the non-conference he can.
Well, they didn't beat anybody in the non-conference. Or maybe Texas State.
The non-con.
I mean, Mississippi State got drilled by Toledo.
Mississippi State does look like a complete mess. So, maybe the Texas State is the one.
Right.
Maybe that's a really good G5 school.
We'll see.
They've certainly gotten hyped up. They got to live up to it.
Right.
Got
we'll
hype for it.
Yeah.
Though. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Karene Reid, Ute linebacker, joins us next right here on The Zone.
It's game week for the Utes, and the Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. After a road win against Utah State, Kyle Whittingham and the Utes hit the road for their Big 12 showdown as they square off against Oklahoma State. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Ute football. Then catch the Ute pregame show this Saturday at 1, with the postgame show immediately following the game. Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Question of the morning, no rising, no problem for the Utes versus the Aggies. How good did Isaac Wilson look?
Very good.
Scott didn't even comment. He blew right by it. He said the defense was concerning. Hopefully they're just playing vanilla, trying not to put too much on film for conference play.
Come on, you don't. Come on, man. They didn't have the best defender in the history of the program, Karene Reid, to begin with.
It's time to take you inside the huddle. Straight from the source. This is the Players Club with DJ and PK, featuring Ute linebacker Karene Reid on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Karene, good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good. Now, we just got the heads up from Yak that you were on the phone, so PK threw that out there. Did you hear that? Was that good for the ego? Did you soak that up?
I did hear that. Yeah, I heard that, man.
It's true.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Go back into the building, find Luther Ellis, and tell him, move over, big feller.
I said linebacker. Ellis
I
was
thought you said
down.
defender.
I meant
Say
linebacker.
anything to him.
Well, there's still been a few good linebackers. But assess your play. What did you think of how you performed individually and the linebackers as a group?
He was out.
And, of course, you were out, so then I would assess that. Go ahead and assess the group.
No worries. The group looked good. I think Landers held it down really well and led the defense. Sione stepped up, and then we had John O'Hall as well, and they played well together. I thought it was good overall.
Did you get a little nervous at 14-3?
You know what? I knew we would pull through, but that stadium, from the looks of it, was pretty hostile at the moment. You never know with those in-state games, right?
So the thing about that is I knew there'd be some red there. I was surprised how much red there was all around that one end. But the thing about playing in that stadium, and I don't know where you were during the game. Were you on the bench with the guys?
Actually, I wasn't. I was
okay.
with my family watching. So
the herd, the students sit right above the bench, and there's very little distance from the sideline to the first row. So the players who are down there, I mean, they're hearing it. I don't know if you talked to the guys about that, but they're hearing it.
I heard about that. Some of them were saying we need to move our student section on the opposite sideline as well because it's pretty brutal to have their students behind us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and your guys, they'll be down off to your left-hand side, your student section.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. But, I'm like you. I felt like, okay, If it was 21-3, maybe 28-3, and then it's time to get nervous. But they were within reach, and I felt like it was just a matter of time. I mean, I know you're not a quarterback expert by any stretch, but neither am I. What the heck? But it seemed like Wilson accorded himself very well in his first start.
I thought so. It's not easy to be 18 years old, lead this veteran old line, to beat any team, right? So I thought he composed himself well, and he's got the talent to be really, really good. So I'm excited for him and his future.
I know it's a team game and you need all 22 guys, and that's not true because you probably need 35 or 40 with guys rotating through at some of the different positions. But when you get down 14-3, you better have a quarterback who can do something, because if you don't, the road back gets really long. So at 14-3, there was pressure on the offense. There was pressure on the quarterback, which means, I guess now as you sit here, you know a little bit more about your backup quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. And Isaac's got a great supporting cast. You got Keithy in there and those vets in the O-line. And I don't know how worried he was, but I'm sure he felt a lot of pressure. I thought he did a great job, and everyone rallied around him. And the biggest thing is just believing in him and trusting him. And he pulled through and he performed.
Could you imagine having a guard one-on-one Caleb Lohner as big as he is and his ability to jump? And that's got to be a nightmare.
I just want to know what opposite coaches are teaching them as far as technique, especially if you're under 6 foot. I don't know. You don't have too many options. Do you go for the feet like he's going up for a dunk? I don't know what you're supposed to do there.
Right.
It seems like this could get pretty predictable. The Utes get in the red zone. They're just going to throw the ball up high and let Lohner go get it. And everybody may know what's coming, no matter which team you root for. Well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. We'll see. Once somebody stops it, I guess we'll go away from it. I wonder how much longer until we see some double teams on them. That'll be interesting.
Now, you get Oklahoma State right out of the chute on the road for conference play, your first Big 12 game. We don't know how it's going to play out, but right now you could argue this might be the toughest game you have. We'll see for the rest of the time. I'm not going to disrespect anybody else going forward, but this is just a huge game as far as this goes. I got to imagine the players are going to be fired up and be excited to get one of the better teams in your very first Big 12 game.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I'm sure practice is going to be a little more intense, meetings, lifts, all of that. We got big goals in the Big 12 championship, and I think this is the first really, really big step going towards that. And so we got to be ready.
Have you been watching their games?
We watched a little bit this morning, watched some last night. Just been impressed with their run game, right? Obviously, they have a big-time running back, but that O-line as well looks really solid. So, I got all the confidence in the world with our D-line, especially this last game. I was blown away by D-ends and D-tackles. And so as long as they continue to show up, as they go, we go. So I'm excited.
Now, you had told us last week that you didn't expect to be out long, so that led us to believe that you weren't going to play, and you didn't play. I'm wondering, what do you do during a week in which you know on Saturday you're not going to play?
Man, I just rehab and do all I can to get back on the field, be there for the boys, watch film with them, just all I can do except for play, if that makes sense, supporting them and what they need. And also just constantly working on myself and trying to get back.
So do you stand around on the sidelines during practice or what?
Depends on the day. If I have certain rehab scheduled during practice, then that'll take precedence over that. But if not, I'll be at practice.
I'm curious how the team integrates new guys and all that. Someone who hasn't played football their whole life in Lohner, and they see the touchdown. I mean, everybody's always going to be excited when there's a touchdown, but it seems like somehow people are really happy for him. What has he done, and how does that work that a new guy can integrate himself that quickly, especially when he hasn't even been playing the sport?
Yeah, I think first you got to know the guy. He's such a likable guy, so humble. And I think it's exciting for fans to see a basketball player go up and get a pass in the end zone as if it's an alley-oop or something like that. I think the first question when people switch sports, especially to football, is can they handle the physicality? And he let it known right away in fall camp that he doesn't. It doesn't matter if you smack him in the mouth. He doesn't care. He keeps going. And so I'm really excited for him. I think he'll be a great weapon. He already is, but moving forward as well.
You think you'll play this week?
That's the goal, man. I'm doing all I can to get back on the field. So we'll see. I'll have a better idea as the week goes on.
How does that generally work? I mean, you may not know specifically for yourself this week until you get there, but do guys get rolled out on Thursday? Can it actually be, warming up before the game before you know? How does that get figured out?
It depends. Usually they want you to be practicing while the pads are still on. Just depends. I mean, if you're the quarterback, Cam Rising, yeah, you're going to play even if warming up's the first time you touch the football. So it just depends, case by case. But usually they want you hitting a little bit with the pads on before you play the game.
How much do you guys care about rankings?
You know what? We try to not look into it because, it's not going to affect the way we practice. It's not going to affect the way we prepare. Obviously, it'll matter more towards the tail end of the season. But right now, really, it's just week by week, and all we care about is Oklahoma State.
Were you sneaking a peek at those first 3 games on TV when the schedule allowed it? Or does that violate the one game at a time rule we hear so much about?
Sometimes you got to sneak, especially if there's players you're interested about or curious about. But that'll be more on your own personal terms. As far as the position group or the team, that's always week by week.
Mid-afternoon against the Cowboys. For me, I love going to football games when the sun is out. I love going to sporting events when the sun is out. How about you? What is your preference?
I love playing under the lights, but I don't like waiting for the games. So I'm good with either. I do like the lights, but I can't stand waiting all day. So I like both.
Are the guys going to have a lot of family making the trip? This isn't as easy as some other road trips. You're going to have some people there in red supporting you?
I haven't asked around, but our fans in our university knows how big this game is, so I'm sure they'll show up. I'm sure they will.
Is there any concern about being overhyped for a game of this quality?
Shoot. I think there's nothing wrong with knowing the importance and upping your preparation. As far as when the game actually starts, maybe you want to stay more level-headed. But don't get me wrong, we know how important it is, and people are going to be locked in all week.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, when you get there, the thing you're going to notice is that stadium's going to remind the guys of Logan because, again, you're going to have their fans right on top of you. There's very little space from the sideline to the stands. Yeah, it's very tight. A lot of good seats, but you got to hear it.
I've never been there before. That's good to know.
All right, well, enjoy the trip. Hopefully you're able to go. We'll look forward to that, and we'll talk to you next week, Karene.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Karene Reid, University of Utah linebacker, joining us here on The Zone. Oklahoma State. Big game right out of the gate, set up for TV this way, and they're getting it.
The first Big 12 game, Oklahoma State on the road. I wonder what Cam Rising has to say because, as you know, he was with the Utes when they played their first Pac-12 game.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't?
No.
Oh.
That would make him, I don't know what that would make him, 31, 32 or something.
I thought he was there.
He was not at the Coliseum. You were there.
I was there.
The blocked field goal at the end, they had a chance to tie it.
Yes.
Got run back the other way.
Do you know who the kicker was for Utah?
Probably, but I don't recall right now. I'm sure I'll know the name when you say it.
Coleman Peterson.
Oh, really? Okay.
Lived around the corner from me.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. I was there. What was that, 2012?
No.
2011?
2011.
2010 was the last season. 2011 was the first season, and they played the first game. I think they played the literal first game.
They did. Again, that was scheduled for TV. Hey, put the new guys here. They've been in the Fiesta and Sugar Bowl. Put them in the Coliseum. Let's put it on TV.
It doesn't really have the ring of the new Big 12 like the new Pac-12 did because it had been the 10 for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And here this is the second consecutive year of expansion of new teams coming in. They had 4 teams last year, right? 4 teams this year. So it's not really – and they've already played a conference game this year with UCF playing TCU on Saturday. So that's not really that, and I don't think that really matters anyway. But for Utah, I think it matters. Your first Big 12 game is just a great game and a great season setting. Like, okay, boys, we're new to this conference, but we ain't new to winning. This is who we are. And this is what we do, right? You can set that stuff up. You know that that's there.
That's why this game is where it is on the schedule.
I don't know how they came up with that first week. I mean, that's nice. In order for you to be a big-time conference, you have to have a buzz every week.
Yep.
I mean, first week, great. But in 2 weeks, no one's going to remember it in terms of the conference
Even to
race.
remember it, you sit down, you want another big game.
Yeah. There's got to be a bunch of them. And then I think I disagree with the idea of playing BYU early in November because there's other big games. And that's backdoor philosophy. You're not going to get ahead in life backdooring. We're going to play BYU and Utah at the end because we've got great rivalries in our conference, and our conference is just as good as far as rivals go in your conference. It is.
It's not.
That's not true. Bull crap. No, in rivals, I disagree with you 100%. You're going quality of teams. I'm going quality of rival. That's 2 different things. So I disagree completely. You're just going, well, you always default to the bigger, and the bigger is always better, and you'll always do that. And you would have gone to the racetrack, and you would have made 10 cents because you would have bet on everything that was a 1 to 10 favorite. It doesn't work out that way.
UCF doesn't have a rival. West Virginia doesn't have one in the league.
Precisely. That's why you play BYU and Utah, because it's as good a rival as there is out there. Thank you.
There's 3 rivals in the league.
Whoop-de-freaking-do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this rival. I'm not talking about the league. I'm talking about this rival.
I thought you were saying the Big 12 had as many good rivalries as other conferences.
This rivalry is as good as any.
Okay.
I know
I totally missed
I'm
what
not
you're
sure
saying.
I buy that, but if you think so, I'll let you have it. I'm all about you saving face. I hate to bury the crap out of you. It just doesn't make me feel good later on. Around 2 o'clock, I feel so guilty.
I don't
so
believe
I'm not
that.
going to. I do.
And
I
literally
do.
no one listening to the show believes that. Yak, do you believe that?
I believe it.
No, Yak doesn't believe it.
I don't care if you all believe it or not. No, I actually do. I thought, man, I should have backed off on that. And so
Come
here,
on.
I do.
Thank you, Yak.
The guy's a sensitive guy. I've been killing him for 20 plus years.
If I were sensitive, how would I have lasted through 2 decades
I
of
didn't
this
say you
place?
were sensitive.
You just said you were a sensitive guy.
Yeah. I mean, me versus you. Not in life. I meant the big picture.
Okay.
This rivalry...
Oh,
I'll die on this hill. That this rivalry is a really good rivalry.
They could have easily featured this rivalry the last week of the season, given that their options are Kansas State, and Arizona State. You can easily argue
And how
this should be
quickly
it.
you forget the Rumble in the Rockies.
I have completely forgotten it. You're right. You could try to dress some other stuff. Baylor, Texas Tech. Doesn't have it.
I got it, but I'm talking about this puppy.
This could have been the game that they featured.
I think they
on,
should have.
on the rivalry weekend. Could have easily. I was surprised it wasn't.
Me too.
I'm sure they moved it for TV.
I disagree with it.
Yes, and I get why you do that. And I can agree with you and disagree with them. That this one could have been parked on rivalry weekend.
And I agree with you
Great.
disagreeing with them.
Now I'm going to get a little lightheaded.
Me too.
But I just looked at it. They are focusing on Arizona State. It's not Kansas, K-State. They're playing other teams.
And that's decent too.
Kansas, Baylor, and K-State, Iowa State the last
certainly
week.
Utah and BYU is just as good as the Arizonas.
Yeah. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Your feedback is coming up next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
Join hands of Scotty Friday at Rough Tough from noon to 3, 2252 West President's Drive in West Valley City. Rough Tough makes America's finest custom seat covers. DJ and PK, it's time for your feedback. What do you think about today's show? BYU, demolishing Wyoming. Just how good are the Cougars? Joseph, it's still too early to tell. Wyoming's a bad team. BYU should have dominated them.
Yeah, that's a fun part of it, though. If the evidence is already in, then there's really no question to debate.
BYU for the W. Not sure what we realistically know. It's tough to judge based on the competition level. What we do know is our defense and wide receivers are the real deal.
I can buy that.
Strength of the team? Want to go there?
Defensively, yeah. I mean, you can have great receivers, but you got to get them the ball, too. You got to have the blocking. You got to have the quarterback making the right decisions, blah, 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 all that stuff.
NHL Utah Stan Cruising Coug. We will find out Saturday. He's got it circled.
It's going to be a great test, yeah, for sure.
No rising, no problem for the Utes versus USU. How good did Isaac Wilson look? Utes at 305 Ute. He looked like the second best quarterback in this state.
Bryson Barnes, man, lighting it up.
Don't think that was his
Isaac
point.
Wilson.
Tom says falling behind 2 scores was the best thing that could have happened to him. Ludwig was forced to play offense.
I think he was going to either way. That's what I had been told.
Ute Man Phoenix for an 18-year-old true freshman's first start on the road against a rival. He did very well. Took a while to settle in. He just put a little touch on the short passes, but he made some throws that made me say, wow.
Yeah, he was firing it a little bit.
He's going to be a star. The adrenaline kicked in. Of all the things that could happen to a freshman, that's the most understandable and the most easy to deal with, right? If nothing else, you're going to settle down over the course of a game.
Yeah. Let's go to the open mic.
Scott sent in an open mic. Grab the app, use the feature. What does Scott have to say?
Is this feature only turned on when you call for submissions? Seems like every time I try to call in, I get an upload failed message.
Well, it's on all the time from what I'm told there, big guy. So, at any point, you hear something, you got something to say that's wise, funny, interesting, goofy.
And that one made it through because Scott says he uses these message failure delivery. Well, guess what? That one worked.
That one made it through. All right. David comments on Isaac Wilson. He looked pretty great. I'm really annoyed he didn't come to Provo.
Well, if you can look pretty great, I mean, that's good. If not great. Yeah, I can see that if you think that right now. But to me, it's about who you have, not who you don't have. And if you don't have somebody who's good enough, then that exasperates it.
Then it does exasperate it.
Yeah.
Daniel, he had a great second half. He's starting to flash his potential. Dave, the maintenance man, says it's no surprise. After his big brother and mentor is in the NFL, he ought to be good. It's not always that easy, but maybe it is in this case.
Yeah, a long way to go for the young man, but he's got to be pretty pleased.
How good did Isaac Wilson look? Brett says, it was painful, but necessary. He needed a chance to work through the jitters a little bit and make things happen. I'd say he figured it out pretty well. Future looks good.
I don't think it was
Utes.
painful.
14-3, you felt no pain?
Well, he didn't give up the points.
That's true, but they only had 3. It was their worst quarter of the game, wasn't it? He says now, checking the scores.
I just don't think it was painful. It wasn't necessarily great productive, but
But
wasn't.
it's not like he threw 3 picks and was throwing the ball straight at guys and
Right.
you wondered what he was doing.
Right.
The moment looked too big and all that
I
other
just
stuff.
like the fact that they gave him an offense to use. And that's what I'd heard was going to do. It wasn't going to be dumbed down, just get out of there with a win. No, it was going to be he's the quarterback. He's going to get an opportunity to play. And he did. He looked fine.
Garrett said he made several throws that a freshman shouldn't make. I loved what I saw.
Freshman, whatever. Yeah, I would, I don't see how you look at it any other way, but saying, yeah, it was a representative performance of what a quarterback's supposed to look like. Then you throw in a first-year freshman and his first start, blah, blah, blah. If you want to do that, I mean, you don't get any leeway because of that, but if you want to do that as far as a grade, that's fine. In the actual game, nobody cares whether you're a 10th-year senior like Rising or a first-year freshman like Wilson. It all matters just the same.
Randy, he looked better. His confidence looked much higher. The future looks good for him. Well, the confidence should have looked higher. He'd had a chance to play twice, and he had a chance to practice all week, as opposed to, rising at the table, you're in.
And I think that was the key. And I was saying it as it was happening. All those idiots who went after you on Twitter, shut up. I mean, I'm not going to say something like that unless we believe it's true.
I don't have the time and energy to. And the funny thing is, like, on Monday, that wasn't my default go-to. Like, by Wednesday, yeah, I thought he was going to play. But on Monday, initially, I was riding the rising mood thing, and he'll be fine, and he'll be out there. So it wasn't.
Well,
it was
they
your
hadn't had
go too early.
practice.
They hadn't.
So he didn't have first team reps.
But on Monday morning when I was talking with Frank, we hadn't even been to Kyle's press conference to see how Kyle would tap dance around it yet. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, I thought rising was more likely than not. But I came around over 48 hours. There are enough people telling me I better come around.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come around.
Right.
I do wonder though, all the people who are snapping at us about that when it was by then so clear what was going to happen. How many of them are the people who were snapping at us last year when we said Florida was bad, which we said stand on the sideline after all their penalties and their inability to line up and snap the ball?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And I just wonder if those are the same small.
Oh, they're hardcore. They don't want to take anything
hardcore.
negative. So be it. We don't mean it's not negative. It's just reporting what it's reporting.
Right. And just, yeah. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Jake and Ben are coming up next right here on The Zone.